Well, hello everyone. This is Mark Phillips with VisionWorks. At VisionWorks, we help all kinds of organizations turn their visions and plans into reality through strategic planning or building advancement and development programs, through feasibility studies, or through capital campaigns. And we're here for a very important topic today, and that is the key principles of successful fundraising and development. So, thank you very much for joining us. Our goal here is to help all kinds of organizations, whether they're schools, hospitals, libraries, civic organizations, economic development corporations, churches, whatever, form successful fundraising programs or development programs or advancement programs or foundation programs. We're probably going to use those words and those terms somewhat interchangeably. So, to start with today, we might ask the question, what is the difference between fundraising or development or advancement? We've heard these terms used the last several years. And basically, it's a building process. And so, fundraising is a very specific activity. It might be sending out fundraising letters, holding galas or development dinners, uh, golf tournaments and outings, marathons and runs. It might be asking for 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 or $1 million. But fundraising is the very specific act of raising money. Now, fundraising then is part of something bigger called development. Development is more comprehensive. Development has to do with developing relationships or building relationships so that this fundraising can go on. You really can't go up to a person cold and ask them for $10,000 or $100,000. You have to know that person. You have to know that person's giving history. You have to know that person's relationship with the organization. You have to have a relationship with that person. You have to know what excites them about your vision or your plans or your projects. And then you can go ahead and tailor that ask to them. And you have a good hope then of receiving that gift. And even once that ask has been made and that gift has been given, then you have to continue on to thank them, to build the relationship, to strengthen the relationship, or what they call steward the relationship. So fundraising is the very specific task of raising money. Development is a bigger, more comprehensive thing that happens from the beginning of getting to know someone to the thank you note to the continuing to build the relationship. So development is more comprehensive. And then advancement is even more comprehensive than that, because every organization should have a plan, a strategic plan, a one, a three, a five, a 10-year plan. And it may have to do with your annual fund activities, your fundraising activities, all of those things that I mentioned. It may have to do with alumni or membership. It may have to do with public relations and communications and marketing. It may have to do with major gifts. It may have to do with estate planning. It may have to do with recruitment. And so advancement is even more comprehensive than development. Once an organization has a plan, then the advancement program has to take the marching orders from the organization to fulfill in as many ways as possible the organization's dreams or visions or plans or goals. So fundraising is a part of development, and development has to do with relationships, and development then is a part of overall advancement. And advancement has to do with advancing the organization's mission, whether it's a school and part of it being recruitment, whether it's a hospital, whether it's a library or symphony or whatever. But for our purposes today, we may use these terms interchangeably. But in the future, if you hear these terms used, then you have a better idea what they mean. Now, what is the situation today? What are some facts that we have to deal with? And the situation today is that more and more organizations have all kinds of needs, especially great financial needs. Um, the financial input into an organization makes all kinds of programs possible, employs all kinds of people, makes all kinds of activities possible. And for a variety of reasons, we won't need to go into those today, but organizations are facing greater and greater pressures. They're facing greater and greater financial needs. Another thing that we know is that with these organizations, there are shortfalls in the budget. Sometimes there are great needs that have to be taken care of. Maybe if you're an organization, you're going to build a new facility or you're going to do a campus improvement. Maybe there's opportunities in front of you to do even more things in the future, to add new programs, to add new services. And so there's greater needs for fundraising today. A third thing that we know today is that there are going to be great opportunities in giving over the next 25 years. Um, Thousands and millions of people are going to be transferring billions and trillions of dollars, estimates from 25 to 50 trillion dollars from one generation to the next. And so there's great opportunities for community foundations, economic development foundations, schools, hospitals, churches, all kinds of civic organizations. There's all kinds of opportunities for funding in the future. And maybe the last important thing to note is that if your organization isn't forming a foundation or a fundraising or development or advancement program, and if you're not telling your story and asking for support and investment, you can be sure that there are 10 people waiting to take your place. And so you need to have confidence about the worthwhileness of your organization and its programs and services. And you need to be developing a fundraising development advancement program, because if you're not there, you can be sure that someone else is behind you waiting to take your place. So let's go ahead and look at several basic principles of successful fundraising or development or advancement programs, successful foundations. The first thing to note is that basically fundraising, development, advancement, foundations have four key things that they have to focus on or keep their eyes on. The first thing is that you want a quality product. If you're a school, you want a quality academic program, you want a quality sports program, you may want quality service programs. If you're a hospital, you want to be putting out quality health care. If you're a library, you want to be putting out quality services to the community, whether they're books, whether they're media, whether they're videos and other kinds of resources made available to the community. And so, whatever you do, whether you're a school, a hospital, an economic development corporation, another civic organization, whatever you do, you want to be, as much as possible, putting out a quality product and always working to improve that product. The second thing that you always want to do is you always want to have the best leadership and the best management possible. And that means having a vision 1, 3, 5, 10 years into the future. That means having good management principles so that everyone, as far as possible, is happy in the organization, whether it's paid staff or volunteers. You want to be honest and forthright and transparent in your reporting of the activities and the services and the finances of your organization. The third key thing is that you have to always be telling your story. If you're a school, you need to tell your story to your staff, to your students, to the families, to your alumni, to the people in the community, to your business leaders. If you're a hospital, you have to be telling your story to your staff, to the people you've served over the past years, your patients, to the community, to your business and civic leaders, and so on. And so we call these different segments or groups your publics. And it's always good to break down your communications because your communication to one segment of the population is going to be different from your communication to another segment of the population. But you always have to be telling your story to your publics. And then the last key thing of fundraising or development or advancement is that eventually you have to be asking for support and you have to be asking for investment. You have to be asking for donations and contributions. And if you're doing something really worthwhile and you believe in it, you shouldn't have any problem in asking for support and investment. So those are the key factors in fundraising or development or advancement. A second key thing that organizations need to do today, especially, is that organizations need to have a plan, a strategic plan, a 1 or 3 or 5 or 10-year plan. And so organizations need to have a plan so that they know where they're going. It doesn't have to lock them in completely, but they have to have a good idea of where they're going. Say, for example, you're a school and you want to develop a great basketball program. It may mean getting a great coach. It may mean improving your recruitment efforts. It may mean building a new gym and some better facilities and so on. But once you have that plan, then your fundraising or development or advancement program knows what they need to share with the community. They know what they need to tell the community. They know what they need to ask for from the community. The same with a hospital. If you want to start a program that focuses on women and mothers, or you want to focus on cancer treatment or physical therapy or dialysis, if you have this in your strategic plan, then your advancement program knows what they can tell people about and know what they can ask people for. So the organization needs to have a plan. Once the organization has the plan, then the advancement program knows what they can share with people. They know what they can ask people for. They know what they can ask people to contribute to. And then even your advancement program, your fundraising development advancement program, it needs to have a 1, a 3, a 5, a 10-year plan, and so on. So strategic planning is so important. In years past, organizations may have been able to get by without a vision, without a strategic plan. But these days, without a plan, it's very difficult to succeed. You will not wander into success. The only way that you can get to a better organization, a better program, a better set of activities is by having a strategic plan and trying to follow that plan. A third key to remember in successful fundraising and development and advancement is very basic, and that is that all giving is relational. All giving is based on relationships. It is very, very difficult to go up and ask a person for $1,000 or a $10,000 or $100,000 gift without having some kind of prior relationship with that person. Whether the organization has a prior relationship or whether the people that direct the organization, such as the administrator or the principal or the civic director have a relationship with them, or whether the advancement people have a relationship with the donor. But all giving is relational. And so we need to be fostering friendships. We need to be fostering these relationships. We need to be fostering better relationships, and we need to be taking care of the relationships that we have. One of two things that we see that organizations many times lack is, number one, they many times lack a strategic plan. And number two, they may know who their donors are. They may have a list of their donors. They may have some history of their donors, but they don't have a good relationship with their donors. And because they don't have a good relationship with their donors, that makes it very difficult then to ask for those significant gifts or those larger gifts. And so, something that the leaders of an organization can do, that people in the advancement program can do, or the foundation can do, is, for example, they can have a weekly or monthly coffee, or lunch, or dinner, or cocktails. Say, for example, you were a school principal, or a hospital administrator, or the pastor of a church, and once a week you invited in 5 couples for coffee or for lunch. And you shared what was going on in the hospital with them. You shared some future plans with them. You solicited their feedback. You listened carefully to find out what excited them and what didn't. Well, if you did this once a week for 50 weeks, you would have better relationships with 250 people or couples. Even if you did it once a month, you would have better relationships with 60 individuals or couples. And so consider having a director's table. And again, it may be coffee, it may be lunch, it may be dinner, it may be cocktails, it may be once a week, it may be twice a month, it may be once a month. But consider doing something like this to bring in some of your key donor prospects into the organization, so that they can see what's going on, so that they can hear what's going on, and so that you can foster that all important relationship with them. A fourth key factor in good fundraising and development and advancement is that you want to think of people and their commitments like a pyramid, and you want to move people up the pyramid to greater and greater levels of commitment. And so maybe you have 1,000 people at the base of your pyramid that are your acquaintances. Well, you want to move them up the pyramid so that they have more interest in you and more commitment to you, so that maybe you have 250 people that you could consider friends, really good friends of your organization. And you might even want to move them up higher so that you have 50 to 100 people that are your best friends in an organization. Meaning that they know what's going on in the organization, that you have close relationships with them, that they are more committed than the rest to your organization. And so, as that little pyramid shares with us, you may have people during the year who give sporadically or occasionally, and you want to move them up to the next level so that they are giving to you each year. And then you want to move them up to the next level so that some of those people are going to become your major givers, maybe giving 10 or 25 or 50 or $100,000 a year. And then you want to move them up even higher so that as many of those people as possible think of you in their estate plans. They're going to leave you something in their will. So think of all your people as a pyramid, and you're trying to move people up the pyramid to greater and greater levels of commitment. It is very difficult to have a comprehensive view of all the people that we're in touch with. We can only do the best that we can, but again, try to move people up that pyramid. Try to move them to greater levels of commitment. Try to do the best you can. Only do what you can. But again, even if you're just doing something, something is better than nothing. A fifth key of successful fundraising or development or advancement, a fifth key of having a successful foundation is having a good structure. And there are several components to a successful advancement program or a successful foundation. The first is you're going to have an annual fund. And the annual fund person, whether it's paid staff or volunteer, is going to organize your fundraising activities for the year. That they may be fundraising letters, they may be galas, they may be development dinners, they may be golf outings, they may be raffles and auctions, they may be marathons, they may be other kinds of things. But you want to have all kinds of fundraising activities through the year. This brings people into the base of your pyramid. I was working with a man once, and he said that he had been hired as the development director. And I said, well, what are you doing in your role as development director? And he said, well, I take care of the marathon and the dinners and the raffles and so on. And I said, well, what you are right now is you're the annual fund director. You're the fundraising director. And if we are going to expand your fundraising development advancement program, if we're going to expand your foundation, then we are going to have to include other things in there. The second thing that is very important is you want to be communicating, if you're a school, with your alumni. If you're a civic organization or a hospital or an economic development corporation or a library or a symphony, you want to be communicating with your membership. Again, your staff, your members, the members who are paying a fee each year to belong, people out in the community, your business leaders. You want to be communicating with your membership. The third thing that needs to be going on is you're going to need to segment people, as we talked about, in that pyramid, so that you've got members and you've got people that are more committed and your friends, and then you've got people that are really committed, people who can make major gifts of 10 or 25 or 50 or $100,000, gifts of $1 million. And you have to be touching base, and you have to be building those relationships with those major donors. You have to be soliciting gifts each year from those major donors. A fourth thing that is very important for a successful advancement program or foundation is to have a good plan giving program. Many times plan giving is confusing to people, and so we just use the term estate planning program. But you can be sending out letters each year. And in those letters, you can have brochures. And in those brochures, you definitely want to have the legal title of your organization or your foundation so that people can easily get to it and take it to their lawyer. You want to be having estate planning workshops with the director, with a financial representative, with an accountant or an attorney, with the director closing and making a pitch for the organization. You want to be having legacy societies, people who have already let you know that your organization is going to be remembered in their estate planning. And you want to do things with them. Remember them on their birthdays, perhaps have periodic luncheons, recognition kinds of luncheons, Christmas parties, and so on. The fifth thing for a successful advancement program or foundation is to have a good communications or public relations or marketing department. And again, we said that it's best to try to segment where we can. We don't need to have long communications, but little newsletters to the staff, or the students, or the school families, or the alumni, or to people in your community, or to business leaders. You might have paper newsletters, monthly or quarterly. You might have electronic newsletters, monthly or quarterly. But you might have articles in the newspaper and so on. But you want to be communicating and telling your story to your publics. Lastly, if you're a school, you definitely need a recruitment program. And in recruitment, it's very important to get people on your campus. And so if you're a private school or even a public school, you might have academic tournaments, you might have football camps or basketball camps. You might have buddy days and days that they can visit. You might have open houses and so on. But you need to get them on your property and on your campus so that they can have a better look and really start thinking about your school. So this is the fifth element of very successful advancement and foundations. The sixth element is to consider a advancement assessment or advancement audit. And basically that means that that we come in there and we look at your overall program. We look at the history of the program, the history of giving. We look at the different elements of the program that you already have, as far as alumni, as far as PR and marketing, as far as major gifts, as far as planned giving, as far as annual fund, as far as recruitment. We look at those things. We look at what you lack, and then we can suggest things that you consider adding to your program. And you can't add everything, and you can't add everything all at once. But we always want to focus on those things that will get you the most bang for your buck. And then we can help you add those things into your program, or build those things into your program over time. So an advancement audit, an advancement assessment is very important, because it takes a look at where you are, and it looks at where you would like to grow. How would you like to grow this advancement program or this foundation? How much would you like to see it be raising you in the future? For example, we were invited in to do an assessment of a school program, and the school was 125 years old, and basically they had an alumni list. And they thought they had a development program or an advancement program. They sent out a newsletter once a quarter to their alumni, but they basically only had an alumni list. And from that alumni list, then we had to build them, and we helped to build them a full-fledged advancement program. And lastly, a key factor in having a successful fundraising development advancement program, a key factor in having a successful foundation, is for the directors and the administration to support it, and to support it realistically. The more people, the more dollars, the more resources that you give an advancement program or a foundation, the more successful it can be. Sometimes directors and administrators don't fund an advancement program very well. They don't resource it very well, but they have very large expectations of what the advancement program should be able to do, or what the foundation should be able to do. Almost unrealistic expectations. I've seen it sometimes where directors or administrators don't fund the advancement program very well. They might have part-time people, one full-time person in there, but they expect miracles. They expect the world out of that, and that's very difficult to pull off. And so, fundraising, development, advancement, foundations are very, very important. And the more people you put to them, the more resources you give them, the more you look for the right people to staff them in the right places, the more you can do, the more wildly successful you can be. So, in summary today, all kinds of organizations, more and more, are having greater and greater financial needs, greater and greater needs for fundraising and development and advancement, greater and greater needs for stronger foundations. And they have these needs for all kinds of reasons, but they are having greater needs today. There are things that they need to do and add to their programs. There are opportunities in front of them, and the only way that they're going to really take care of those financial needs, take care of those program or building needs, take care of those opportunities, is by having stronger and stronger advancement programs. And so the seven keys to successful advancement programs, the seven keys to successful foundations are: number one, you want to be putting forth a quality product, whatever that product is. You want to have good leadership and management. You want to be telling your story and marketing yourselves, communicating in all kinds of ways. And you want to be asking people for small, for medium, for large investment. You want to be asking people for donations. You have to eventually get around to doing that. Number two, organizations need plans today to be successful. Once the organization has a plan, then they can share that plan with the advancement program, and the advancement program then knows what they need to do in seeking funds. They know what they need to publicize and ask funds for. So organizations need strategic plans, and even advancement programs need strategic plans for the next 1, 3, 5, and 10 years. Thirdly, you want to remember that all giving is relational, and so you want to be turning acquaintances into friends, and you want to be turning friends into really good friends. Fourthly, you want to think of people's relationship to your organization as a pyramid, and you want to move them from the base of the pyramid to the very top of the pyramid. You want to move them from little or no commitment to very strong commitment. Fifthly, an advancement program or a foundation needs to be well structured. Needs to be well thought out. You're going to have an annual fund for all your annual fundraising activities. You're going to be having an alumni or membership segment. You're going to be having a major gifts segment that's going to seek gifts from the larger donors. You're going to be doing estate planning in all kinds of ways. You're going to be doing communications or public relations or marketing, telling your story. And if you're a school, you need to be doing recruitment. Number six, it's good for all organizations, all advancement programs and foundations from time to time to do an advancement audit. If you're at the very beginning, of course, you need an advancement audit so that you can see where you're at and see where you'd like to be as far as all those elements of advancement and fundraising in the next 1, 3, 5, and 10 years. You can see where you're at, you can see where you'd like to go, and we can help develop a plan for you so that you start putting in place those important elements of an advancement program. And then lastly, it's so important for administrators, directors, managers, leaders to realistically support their advancement program and to realistically support their foundations. The more you put into them as far as quality people and financial resources, the more you can expect to get out of them. So we want to thank you for joining us today for this very important webinar on building advancement programs, building up your foundations. If you have any strategic planning needs, if you have any assessment needs or plan giving major gift needs, we hope that you will contact us so that we can help you more and more to build more and more successful advancement and foundation programs. Thank you very much.